Hey y'all, it's your girl Nadi, aka Queen Goddess Hope, on the coldest fucking day of the year in New Jersey. It's like 15 degrees outside, so yes, I have on this big ass sweater. I just want to say that today I'm just going to talk about relationships, and again, this is not up for discussion. It's just me basically having a video journal of my shortcomings and how I've overcome them, and just so that you can understand what it may be like to be in a relationship that sucks. I just really want to help other people understand that sometimes, you can be in a traumatic relationship and not really understand what it feels like to be in one because you're so blinded by love, because that term love is blind is a real thing. And I thought that I had found my king because I met him on a plane on my way to spring break with one of my girlfriends, and I used my honeymoon plane voucher to go there. And in the last video, I mentioned that I was engaged and I had cut off the wedding 7 weeks before the wedding. I didn't give a fuck how much thousands of dollars we spent. It was just not worth me tying my soul to somebody forever, because what people don't understand is that when you do get divorced from someone, it doesn't matter. You're the first covenant bond with that person, and you're always going to have a soul connection and a soul tied to that individual because you united as one under God. And I think people do this marriage thing so frivolously and don't even understand that aspect of it. So if I'm going to bind my soul to somebody, it has to be one time and one time only. And I knew that I was going to be a cheating wife if I stayed in that relationship, and I didn't care how much money we spent on planning this wedding. I had to save myself, and I did, and I'm grateful that I did. And here I am on this plane, telling my girlfriend, like, yo, it would be OD if I sat next to this guy on the way home, because we had locked eyes when we were going. And sure enough, my manifestation game has been A1 for all these fucking years. And next time you got to be careful about what you say, because he sure enough was sitting right next to me, and we talked on the plane for several hours. And sometimes when you do things like that, and I didn't know that manifesting was a thing or karmic relationships was a thing, and you heard me talking about cheating in my last video, and how you pay for things one way or another, and it may not show its face right away, but eventually it will show its face. And for me, it did. And I truly felt like that was a karmic relationship. And I lasted in it for almost 6 years, and it cost me a lot mentally, physically, emotionally, and I'm here and I'm fucking back. Like, I feel like I went through hell and came back, and it wasn't always bad, but it was more bad than good in my opinion. And a lot of times, like I mentioned in the last video, we both have to understand what it's like to be children who have dealt with trauma. Just being in a Black household by itself has its own set of trauma, because we're trying to break generational curses that stemmed from slavery. And I think a lot of people don't get that aspect of that's something that's embedded in our DNA. And now here we are 180,000 years later, trying to turn this history, all around, and now live in legacy and not more or less turmoil. So being in that relationship kind of fucked me up, in a sense of I didn't know who I was, so I didn't place a value on myself. I know that I'm the fucking done daughter, don't get it twisted. I know what I offer and what I bring to the table. I know that I'm truly a millionaire times 37. You understand? Like, I know that my children's children are going to be wealthy. I know that my family is going to be wealthy, because I have that drive and determination in me. But the fact of the matter is, sometimes people don't understand your worth, and they abuse that. And this is no shade to the gentleman, but in the same token, he didn't understand my worth. And I've learned a lot of lessons from him, both bad and good. But what I did learn most is that you have to just save more money. Like, that's really it. And never, ever, ever put yourself above anybody. And it got to the point where I had to understand who I was, because it came with immense journaling. It came with a lot of depressive nights where I'm just sitting here and I'm sitting in the room like crying to myself. How the fuck did you get here, bro? What did you do to get here? On the outside, my life is shiny and it's great. I have a great car. I drive a luxury car. I have a great job. I drive a luxury car. I have my own space. I didn't have a need for anything. I lived below my means and I'm happy. But then I got into a situation where my apartment had major mold in it. And now I'm going on year 4 with this gentleman, and we were breaking up. And then I woke up to my house being filled with black mold because my upstairs neighbor's house flooded. Their dishwasher broke and they didn't say shit. So I ended up having to leave the premises and breaking my lease and moved in with him, even though we had broken up. And that was probably the worst thing I ever did, because it made me give up a sense of independence that I was not ready to give up. And you have to trust your intuition. And for me, I was the only person living here, meaning I had no family in New Jersey. So it wasn't like I could just go in with a family member and say, hey, guess who's home again? You know what I mean? It wasn't that type of demographic. It was surely he was the only person left in New Jersey. And it was almost like he knew and tried to hold that over my head. Like, oh, you need me. No. Like, I'm fucking more than fine without you. However, I need to be here at this point because now I need to understand if you're my husband or not. I am a firm believer in people living with people before they fucking get married. So I don't know what you thought this was, but thank you for fucking up. Sir. So at some point, you have to understand who it is that you are, and you have to understand your value and your worth. So do whatever it is. Put yourself in unpleasant situations just to prove to yourself that you know what the fuck you were talking about. But don't do what I did, because I started learning about myself. I was meditating. I was doing yoga. I was doing I am affirmations because I had hit rock bottom already 2 years prior to that, when my education was taken from me. I had reached my aggregate loan levels and I didn't even know what the fuck to do. And I centered my life in 3 vision boards around my education. So once that was pulled from me, I didn't understand who I was, because my life was surrounded by my education. I knew once I obtained that goal, I was going to do X, Y, and Z. And anyone who knows me knows that I manifest my reality and I always achieve my goals. Whatever I set out to do, I always achieve it. And sometimes I share them with people and sometimes I don't. But they see the fruit, so that's really all that mattered. And at this point, I felt like I wanted this guy to be my husband. And I don't even think he wanted to be my husband. Now that I think about it, it was just, okay, this girl really loves me. I love her. Let's see what this does. You know what I mean? And one mistake I can say is that I'll never do that ever again, because I need to be with somebody who's on the same page as me. And if we're not rocking out on the same page, I'm never going to force anything. But desperate times call for desperate measures. So I needed to be in that situation to understand if he was indeed my husband. He was liked by my family, but that's it, and we had great ties to his family, and I loved and cherished them as well. Some people I still rock with and some people I don't. And that was a whole nother fucking thing. And I feel like family, when they understand who you're dating a little too much, they actually can ruin the relationship. And that's what in turn happened to us. And I ruined friendships and relationships with people because I was in such a depressive state because of that relationship. And those are relationships and friendships that I can't even get back. And I don't even fucking want it back. Let's not get it fucked up. But my thing is, like, you have to understand who you are at the end of the day. Recognize mental abuse, recognize emotional abuse, recognize verbal abuse, recognize abuse in any capacity, because at some point I no longer was my happy, bubbly, cheery self. I became completely depressed, and I was always wanting to be in my room, and I only wanted to journal and write. I never wanted to interact with other people, and it just became such a negative everything that it forced me to become depressed, and it forced me to have anxiety, and it forced me to have depression. And it wasn't until I was sitting down one day journaling and realizing that I wasn't happy that I wanted to do something about it. So some of the things that helped me get through that relationship, for one, was journaling. I have been a writer since I was 6 years old. I've always written short stories. I've always been in front of a computer. I had my first Mac when I was like 5, 6 years old, back in like 89, 1990. And I just knew how to use computers from the beginning. So I'm pretty like geek nerd with that. And I've always been writing, I always was like, okay, what the fuck can I do on here? And, that was before internet was like a real thing. Dial-up was a pain in the ass, and there was very few apps or discs that you can put into the CD player that would allow you to use it without the internet. So Memo Pad was like the shit for me, you know what I mean? So just writing, being able to use my imagination and create these stories had allowed me to create a world surrounding me that was fruitful, and that's how I became a writer. So journaling has always been a sense of peace, and there's always a sense of release. But growing up, I do recall when my parents would find my journal and read my journal, and it kind of made me stop journaling, because I'm like, shit, I can't even share my thoughts with anyone, and then I can't even write them down without me fearing that someone's going to read it and then I'm going to be penalized for my actions. And that's really something that I want to encourage parents. If you are reading your kids' journal or see them journaling and you see their thoughts, it's okay to approach it, but don't discourage them from wanting to write anymore. You can't do that, because I didn't write for several years, and I think because I wasn't journaling, I suppressed so much, and that caused me to become depressed and have PTSD. So that's just a little small note to self for you parentals out there. But one thing I can say that helped me, again, another thing that helped me get through that relationship, is just journaling often, understanding the frequency of emotion. And, a lot of things can be either low vibrational or you're operating from a high vibrational frequency. And what I wanted to do was write down the first thought or the first memory that came to mind once I went through all of the low vibrational frequencies, whether if it was fear or shame or hurt, anything that came to mind. As soon as you said fear, I was like, heights, fuck, I hate heights. But I didn't understand why I hated heights. And then thinking about, conversations that I have with my aunt, and understanding, like, when you grow up in the P's, you go up to the top floor and everybody's looking at the fucking roof, and there's always one asshole who like startles you, and that just instills a fear inside of you that's completely debilitating for your entire fucking life. I didn't even want people picking me up. I've always dated men who were like super tall or just taller than me, and then when you give a bear hug, it's like, okay, I'm kind of off the ground now because I'm like 5'2", so put my ass down, I'm scared. So it's like people don't understand that those actions follow up and lead to different types of reactions that ultimately lead to different types of trauma and PTSD. So that's what I hated. But understanding the scale and the frequency scale and emotions, I kind of had to level up. And then thinking about body shaming, I remember someone saying to me at a young age, like, oh, she has cellulite on her legs, and I was probably like 10. And that stuck with me because that made me hate my body for my entire life. And who knew, like, cellulite was fucking natural and you got to do all this extra shit just to not have it. I didn't know that at 10. I'm not even thinking about that at 10. I don't even want to think about that at 10. But unfortunately, because of that one conversation or that one comment, it led me to hating my body for so many years. And that's why I was like, we got to go ham on insanity. To this day, I'm like, all right, let's do insanity. Sorry for my legs. I don't even care who actually records videos fully dressed. But anyway, it's like, I just hated so many different things, and I have to be confident, you know what I mean, in that aspect of who I am and love myself through and through. So it's like so many different things led up to me being in that relationship, and I needed to be in that relationship. Even though I hate to admit it, you know, I needed to go through all of those down times and all of those negative situations and arguments with people's fucking mothers and, you know, family members and him. And, you know, you need all of that to understand who you are, because sometimes those negative situations allow you to be in this cocoon state. It makes you think and dig deep and journal and cry and curse people the fuck out and go through therapy so that you can come out this beautiful butterfly. And I can promise you, my skin is on glow. You understand? This shit is shine bright like a diamond. And my hair is growing. I've slimmed down, and I actually maintained my weight in such a way that I've never maintained it before. I remember slightly after high school, I was the same weight for like 5 years, and then I met a man. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, men, I don't know who the fuck you think you are, but y'all need to do more work. Sometimes you have so much trauma instilled inside of your bones, in your heart, in your psyche. And I understand that all you want to do is fuck bitches and get money. But you have to understand what it is that you're taking on. Sometimes women come to you at these points in times, and you have to understand that they're also there to help you. We're your helper or your helpmate according to the Bible. And we're here to help you level up. And 9 times out of 10, we just really need your support. I don't need a man's money. In fact, I don't even want that shit half the time. You know what I mean? Just support me, take care of me in an aspect of housing a roof over my head. You know what I mean? But do not abuse it, because we will give you everything and then some. But we just really want you to protect us and support us and know that our parents are content that you are taking care of their queen, their daughter. And I think that a lot of men are missing that part about them. And it shows. And don't get me wrong, we could be the PIMPs of a fucking nation. And right now, I don't think people understand that this age of women that's about to come up and rise, it's going to come with a lot of salty ass men. The patriarchal hierarchy is a wrap. You know what I mean? And women are about to come up in such a way, especially Black women. You know, I have never not gotten a job. And then this year, I went on probably like an interview a week since the top of the year started, and I haven't gotten any of those jobs, which only fucking tells me that I'm not supposed to have one. You know what I mean? And it's like, I only want one just because I'm trying to crush more goals, but now I have to hone in and focus even more on my goals and what it is that I'm trying to do. And yes, I established a holdings company which holds 4 or 5 different smaller companies, but eventually all of those things are gonna pop. Duh. You know what I mean? Like, that's the fucking plan. So I say that all to say, people will always talk bad about you. People, especially men, if you're in a relationship, or women in a relationship with a negative ass female, because it could also be on the other foot, but I don't give a fuck about that right now. I'm talking sheerly to women. And I really want you to focus on the fact that you are entitled to feel how you want to feel. If you feel extremely low and you feel like you're in a relationship that's no longer conducive to your health, fucking go. Leave. You have to do what's best for you, especially if there's kids involved. Do not sit in a relationship because you're married for the kids. That shit is the dumbest shit I ever heard in my fucking life. No, I don't have kids, and no, I've never been married, but that shit is stupid. Why are you gonna commit to more trauma for yourself and your fucking family for some dick that you're probably not even getting on a regular basis on top of that? Like, he probably is fucking somebody else and you know about it and you don't even fucking care. Or you care, you're just trying to figure out when it is a good time to leave. It's never going to be a good time to leave because there's always something that's going to prohibit you from leaving. You just have to do it. And yes, it is easier said than done, but just be strategic and plan that shit out. But do not stay for nobody kids. I don't care if they're yours or not. Like, just don't do it. It's just not smart. Protect yourself. You always have to protect yourself and your bag, because these men out here really will do whatever the fuck they feel like it, and they feel like they have that advantage over you, maybe because they feel like they are the breadwinner, or maybe it is because they know that they have some type of power over your mind, and that's not what we're doing in 2020. Sorry, sir. Your reign is over. So protect yourself. And if I could come, and I'm pretty sure you'll probably hear more stories about this friendship that I had with this man, you just have to do what's always best for you. And I'm always going to do what's best for me. I love love. I'm always going to love because I understand that God is love. We are love. Love is everywhere. I'm sitting on this couch. Somebody made this shit with love. You understand? Like, it's always going to be about love. And I think we need to get to a point where we're understanding that. We overstand it and we implement it in our day-to-day lives. But everybody doesn't operate from that standpoint because they don't even understand what happened to them to get to be so fucking evil. I'm not never gonna chase money. It's just not even something that's in my DNA. I'm always going to focus on my legacy, and I'm gonna attract the money to me. It's never gonna be me chasing. That's why I can't get down with that 9-to-5 life. Like, it's really a pain in my ass because now I have to sit here and work for somebody else's invention when I know I got fucking 5 sitting on my, spare me. And it's no shade to, because some people are made for that shit and be finessing and fucking it up, but it's just not made for me. And I've always said that as a kid, and I've always allowed men in relationships to control me and make me feel like I need to be a slave to someone else's dream because I need to remain independent. And that's not where I'm at. I know that I can't work for anybody, and I also know that I can't be in negative relationships that's going to tie me to these same Western thoughts. You know what I mean? If I know that I said my entire life that I was never going to work for nobody, why the fuck am I going to sit here and work for somebody? Why am I going to allow this negative relationship to control me and get me in such a low vibrational state that I'm no longer even achieving my own personal goals? Do you follow what I'm trying to say? Free your mind. Free your soul. There is no human that is worth your soul. That's really like selling your soul. You understand when they say that shit all the time? For what? Do you know how many people are on this fucking earthly plane right now? That's the one that you want to settle on? Really? No. Absolutely not. Protect yourself because you are your greatest asset. All right? If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Share it with your peoples. Post it on your Facebook and Instagram, whatever it is that you would love to do. Check out my website. It's bu2.com, the number 2. And I'm Nadi, aka Queen Goddess Hope. Come back for another video. Adios.